Hello everybody, my name is Pessimist, and this is Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep Final Mix on the PlayStation 4. This game was originally released on the PSP in 2011, I think, somewhere around there. And it's been ported to PlayStation 3 and then the PlayStation 4 with all of the remakes and remasters and whatnot. And this is going to be a run of Aqua. There are 3 playable characters in this game. The gimmick is they all go to the same worlds at different times, so you play all of them, and eventually you get the full overall story. Aqua is the fastest speed run, and the most popular speed run, generally speaking, of the 3 characters. And a lot of people just like Aqua. You can probably see why your appearance why. Anyway, you're coming up at the start. This is Orbs. This is your tutorial level for all 3 characters. All the characters have to do this. We're just trying to mash orbs together, make them blow up quicker. And we're going to take this time to kind of explain how the game operates. You can see in the bottom left that you have what's called commands. And we have 3 of them right now. Commands basically are your abilities in the game, like what you'd expect in a normal RPG, your spells, your attacks, like your items, everything like that in this game are called commands. And you select them, obtain them, and put them in what's called command deck, where you use it. If it's a spell or an ability, it goes on cooldown, then you can use it once it's off cooldown. Right? And so you can... these commands actually level up along with the character. So the more you use commands, the more enemies you kill, the commands level up, and then you can combine those commands into stronger commands. So a level 2 Blizzard and a level 2 Blizzard can make a level 1 Blizzara, which is a stronger version of that command. And you can use that to make more complicated things, so like a strong thunder spell and a fire dash can make a surge of thunder, that sort of thing. Dealing's pulling down gravity, I'll get to that in a minute, but essentially, you also see the meter in the top left of the command deck. You see commands and you see a big old blank meter. The more you attack, the more this meter builds up. If you attack with just normal basic attacks, you're going to get a basic finisher. If you attack with certain commands, you'll get what's called a command style, where it changes the whole way that you attack, and it gives you unique finishers based on those commands and everything like that. Aqua is very unique in that when she uses magic commands to build up that meter, she gets into a command style called Spellweaver. And Spellweaver is insanely powerful, as we will get to. First real big menu of the game is we're going to be buying some Blizzards and a Sleep, all for fights later on. And we're going to equip that and equip EXP 0. This is critical mode, so it's the hardest difficulty in the game. And this is on level 1. Level 1 is actually the fastest way to play this game. Like, every level 1 speedrun is faster, except for Terra. Because Terra is just harder to deal damage in general. But level 1 has an ability attached to it, as I get into Spellweaver here. Where Jackson... I'm sorry. He has an ability where every single finisher, when you have EXP 0 equipped, is going to be leveled up to the level of the world that you're at. So essentially, every single hit that is of a finisher variety is going to do a lot more damage. And Spellweaver, the finisher where you spin round and round like you just saw me do, every single one of those hits in the Spellweaver counts as a finisher. Meaning that every single time Aqua is spinning around, you are getting a buffed up damage to whatever the battle level of the world is. Which means Spellweaver, A, is going to shred through things because it has a lot of different finishers attached, and B, is going to become stronger and stronger the further we get through the game, because it's based on world levels. And you can just see how much damage it does to this first boss. Because of the way EXP0 works and how much just damage it does overall. It's incredibly, incredibly powerful. And most of the speedrun is going to be based around, hey, how do we get into Spellweaver? And how can we use it to our advantage? Like, what are the most optimal ways that we can use this super powerful command style? And how can we build our command deck and use our commands in order to get there in the smoothest, quickest way possible? Okay, so Castle of Dreams is the first world we went through. There's nothing too ridiculous there. Jack Escort's annoying, but what are you going to do? Okay, this world, Dwarf Woodlands, is... Now, there's a decent amount of movement going on. Fastest form of movement in this game is to sliding dash off an enemy, and then you can cancel the animation with a dodge. Here, we're going to get into Spellweaver and get to the Spellweaver finisher, because we want to fight these guys over here. These guys are they're dropping ingredients, and we can later use those ingredients to make ice cream, is what it's called. It acts like items, and we can actually get an item to get us into Spellweaver a lot quicker. So we're setting up for that. Blind Jump can get us Fission Fire way before we're supposed to. We're supposed to have High Jump and all sorts of other stuff, but who really cares about that? Also getting a Fleeting Crystal. So the thing about this game is, as previously stated, your commands, we're equipping the Fission and the Poison and Sleep we got earlier. The commands can be leveled up and then combined together to make stronger commands. It's like, when you do that, you can actually attach items onto it, and those items get you different abilities, like Leaf Brazier, Second Chance, and Once More, typical RPG stuff, as well as stuff like Magic Haste, which we're going to want, which makes our commands reload faster, meaning they're on cooldown less, meaning we can use them more. So this is Magic Mirror. Magic Mirror is actually a really interesting fight. So we're going to put him to sleep. He normally likes to do a whole bunch of cycles where he disappears and reappears, and we don't want to deal with that, so we're going to put him to bed. We're going to whip him around a bit, do some very specific combos in order to make sure he doesn't run away, and make sure we get our Spellweaver built up. And then we're just going to watch one full health bar get completely shredded. If you do any extra hits there, Mirror just flies away, and it's not fun, and not a good time for anyone involved, to be completely honest. Definitely not something you want to have happen. The other things I haven't really talked about yet is you've seen me use D-Link a couple times. D-Links replace your commands with commands based on characters that you met. The ones we've used is Terra. That's really all you're going to see in this run. Is we'll use D-Links for movement, where D-Link can pull us to the ground and just make gravity not exist. And we don't really use a lot of the other unique abilities that it has. Most other BBS runs do, but Aqua, you just don't really need it. You deal enough damage as is. So, Fission Fire doesn't, in the sleeps, we're done with them. We don't need them anymore. And now we're going to get our main way that we're going to deal with mob fights, with big swarms of enemies in this game, is Magnets and Thunders. If you've ever seen a Kingdom Hearts 2 run, they work in kind of similar ways. You'll see that in a minute. So, interesting use of D-Link here, just so we can get our sliding dash. Gravity's an illusion in this game. You can kinda just go where you want. The thing about gravity in this game is as you fall down from your jump animation, if you attack something above you, Aqua just goes nuts and wants to teleport to them really, really bad. So we use that to our advantage quite a bit. So here's the magic command. As you see, it's just going to gather all these enemies together. which is great because one, it's gathering all of them together, meaning that our Thunder command can just deal a crap ton of damage and hit everything. And two, it also means that the enemies cannot attack us. Because this is the hardest difficulty. We do die in 2 hits, especially to these goons. These goons are really, really terrifying enemies because they attack really quickly and they hit hard. Just 2 hits, you barely have any time to react and you're dead. It's not a very good time. So we try our best to just not deal with that if we can. Try to immobilize them as much as possible. And that's what you're going to see in this next big room too. This scene's unskippable, don't ask me why. But we're going to sliding dash on over here. These goons are coming to us, which is good. They can be obnoxious sometimes. And we're just going to do that, make this wave spawn. Now the next wave's going to spawn. We're going to build up our Spellweaver finisher so that we can start obliterating the rest of it. And we have to go through this animation of knocking the pillar down, but we don't actually have to go up there. As I said, gravity is very much an illusion. If you have an enemy above you, like, who cares? Just go where you want. It's not a big deal. Not a big deal in any way. So a few more waves, 2 magnets will kill that one, and these specific combos get me into Spellweaver, as well as make sure these guys don't hit me, which is incredibly nice. And now these guys should jump down into my magnets. We can obliterate all the rest of these guys without much of an issue. And that's what a good Goons fight is. There is a chest in this room before hitting this lever that we defy gravity to get to that in a marathon setting I would grab because it has a item that we need to meld once more in order to not die in endgame. But, you know, world record runs gotta go fast. One thing you'll notice here is I'm going to go on my way to kill these guys. Because we are on level 1, we are not gaining any experience. Aqua is going to be level 1 the entire run. But, again, our commands do actually level up. And we want them to level up in order to make our stronger commands. So every now and then we're going to go out of our way to do that. So Snow White D-Link here gets us Grumpy, which is Treasure Raid, meaning we throw our Keyblade and they have a high chance to drop items. We want 1 fleeting, at least we got 2, which is ideal. Meaning we can skip a chest a bit later, saves a good 10 seconds or so. And now our first bit of melding. All these magnets and thunders we've leveled up. We have fleetings, which means we can make them into Magneras and Thundaras, which are stronger versions of the command. And the fleeting crystal means that we get magic haste, which means all our commands that are magic, that have the little hat on them, are going to reload faster. We also got high jump, which is neat. Meaning that for this fight, all of our commands are going to reload much, much quicker than you've seen anything reload to this point. Which means we are going to have a much easier time. So, Maleficent. We don't like saying hi to her head. Her head is scary and creepy, and we don't want anything to do with it. Because she's just stomping around up there doing her thing. Like, Philip can deal with that, it's fine. We're just going to hide in her back and ignore her attacks the best that we can. Get into Spellweaver. 2 Spellweavers are going to kill. We need her to breathe fire here. Good. In order to just be able to do our attacks. Ideally, if you do this right, and if Maleficent is kind, you can just do Spellweavers before Maleficent's able to fly away, and everything's good. Maleficent can and will fly away here, just kind of whenever she wants. It's rare that she does. You're usually fine. You can usually get the Spellweavers off, but every now and then she can be mean, and there's not a lot you can do about it. Thanks. So that fight is a little scary. Basically, the big reset points in this run are that world and anything before it, because that world is very, very scary, considering how fast goons attack, and considering Dragon Mal can kind of just be a pain in the butt. So, but it's usually not too terrible. Usually, like, it's completely manageable. If she flies away, there are backups, you can be fine. So, bit of D-Link movement here. Enchanted Step, again, gravity is very much a suggestion. We don't really care about it. Enchanted Step just kind of helps our cause. Enchanted Step does that for all 3 characters, actually. We used Enchanted Step for some really cool movement especially in Ven. Ven has a really weird, interesting movement tech to do with it. But Aqua, we can just go up some ramps. Otherwise, we have to go around and there are stairs, and it's a mess. So say hi to Mickey. When Mickey kills stuff, our commands don't get experience from it, so we really don't want Mickey to kill stuff. He's being kind of a nuisance here, but hey, could be worse. The thing about all of these force fights, all of these fights that I'm forced to take part in, you're going to notice is there is a lot of Magnet Thunder and Spellweaver. That is a lot of what these things are. But you're going to notice that I'm really going out of my way to be in very specific positions whenever I cast any of my spells, and like to build up Spellweaver in very specific ways. If I was a few pixels off any of those positions I cast Magnet, the fight could have gone horribly really quickly, because suddenly one of them might not have been caught, and then Mickey can go kill stuff, and then my commands aren't going to get the level that they need. And there's all sorts of small optimizations in these fights that look very simple that can really give people trouble and can really put you in the deep end when you do not want to be. Say hi to Trinity Armor. Trinity Armor, like Orbs, all 3 characters do this fight in all their stories. This is kind of considered the halfway point in the game because it's when all 3 characters meet again. So Ice Barrage was the chest we got back in Enchanted Dominion with all our crazy D-Link movement and gravity suggestion stuff. And as you can see, it just does a crap ton of damage. It gets us into Spellweaver very quickly. It's a very, very good command. And we're going to use it to destroy the legs of Trinity Armor. There are 3 body parts. There's the legs, the arms, and the head. The legs and the arms are now dead. I'm waiting here for the head to do that. He's going to spin in the middle of the arena, shoot some arrows, they hurt, and he's immune. This is also what Killer Death Laser that can kill us in 1 hit, but it's fine. We can just hide under his head, and he's perfectly reasonable with that. I mean, why wouldn't he be? And that's Trinity Armor. It's a very fun fight, very fast fight. It's a much, much harder fight for the other 2 characters to actually do properly. Yeah, but Aqua just has source to so much damage with her Spellweaver ability that you can really make fights that are difficult casually look very, very simple. And just one of those things. One thing, I have been cartwheeling everywhere. There's a debate on whether mashing it and timing it's better. I time it. So you can see how D-Link makes gravity a suggestion again. It just pulls us down to Earth. I'm using Mickey's D-Link now, because Mickey has 2 sliding dashes. And again, hitting enemies and canceling the slide dashing animation, pretty much the fastest way we can move. We're going to make our way over to Vanitas. Say hi to him. We're going to fight him 2 more times after this. He likes to be a big old butthead for all 3 of our characters. Big old antagonist guy, and yeah, he can just kind of be caught in Magnet. Yeah, you know, they hype this fight up, and the music gets intense, and everyone's going nuts, and you know, we can just kind of catch him in Magnet and do this. The only real technical part of this fight is you have to have your Spellweaver finisher before you use Ice Barrage, or you'll go into a different command style, and that ruins the fight. But, yeah, that's Vanitas. We do fight him 2 more times, and he actually gets stronger with each iteration, so this time we can catch him with Magnet, next time he'll be completely immune to it, so we have to find new strategies in order to take care of him and his nonsense. But first time, not a big problem, he's just kinda there. And we'll kinda just take care of him as needed. So, after Radiant Garden, 3 worlds open up here. So, the routing through these worlds is really weird and interesting. We're going to go to Deep Space first, but we're not actually going to complete it. Okay, the reason we're going to Deep Space, you're going to see in about 5 minutes. It's going to take a while for us to get there. First, we have this force fight. And, the force fights... This is one of my favorite force fights in the game, actually. You go in the big old circle, and you do specific Magnet Thunder stuff. I find this really, I don't know why I love this force fight, I just kinda do. But, back to the world selection thing. In our first option in the game, when 2 worlds opened up to us, and we could choose between Dwarf Woodlands and Enchanted Dominion, we chose Dwarf Woodlands because 1, we get specific commands that we wanted, and 2, it would unlock the ability to buy the Magnets and Thunders we needed for Enchanted Dominion. Deep Space, we're not going here to get any commands. We are going to be able to access all the commands that we want regardless. It's like, we're actually going here to get specific item drops. But that comes later. First, we gotta get through everyone's favorite part of Aqua Run. This is a mini-game where you are in space, and the fastest way to kill these guys is to shoot them with magic wing arrows that you apparently have now, because why not? And, yeah, we call it Gotcha Take That. I don't possibly know why. Like, seriously, I can't think of any reason why we call it Gotcha Take That. Anyway, this fight really sucks, because it takes away our abilities. Our only way to heal is to kill one of these guys and pick up their health drops. And as you can see, when they hit you, they hit like trucks. 2 hits and you're dead. So, I started out going to the side of the arena and trying to just get away from them. So I ended up going more towards the middle because A, it's faster if you're able to do it, just because it's faster. It's much easier to hit them, and you doesn't take the arrows as long to get there. And B, they were being very passive when I was away from them. The ideal scenario that kind of plays out is you go towards the side of the arena where you're more safe and you can't be back-ended and caught from behind by these guys. And they come to you, and you can kind of shoot them while they're coming to you, but that's not really how it played out. Like, so this force fight, see these little jellyfish enemies? Yeah, they suck. They suck a lot. As you can see, they attack really quickly, and they hurt. They really, really hurt. The good news is, for some reason, that last wave of jellyfish, if you're at full health and they hit you, you're fine. I don't know why. Every other place, they suck, but in that case, they're okay. It's very weird. Also, sorry about the ringing in your ear. That's kind of what we gotta do. So, last force fight before we figure out why we're here in the first place. We're going to Ice Barrage these floods to spawn the wave that's right in front of us. That's convenient. Then we're going to get rid of them. This will spawn the next wave. There are 2 spinners on either end. We're waiting for them to get caught in Magnet, and now we're just going to blow up everything, including the stuff that spawns afterwards. You'll see that we have a lot of magnets placed in specific positions where we know stuff will spawn in later on, so that they'll get caught and we can get things easier. Like I said, we're not going to finish Deep Space. We're done. Now, the reason we came here in the first place is because we're going to teleport back to the room we just did that force fight in, Because there are now going to be enemies in the back of this room that give us ice cream. And as I said earlier, we want ingredients to make ice cream, so we're going to get all sorts of ingredients here. The reason we do Deep Space first, and do this now, is because that's a 100% spawn rate for those enemies right now, if we do it this way. If we do it other ways, it becomes a 40% chance that they spawn, and suddenly there's RNG involved, and yeah, that's not stuff we want to do. So we're going to get our ice cream ingredients and go to Olympus Coliseum. And this is going to start with a force fight that's all about knowing where the enemies spawn in and being able to take care of them. Really just to the best of our ability. It's like, they're spawning all over the place, and you gotta know exactly where they spawn in order to make this work, and the end looks really cool if you do it right. The end is so easy to screw up. Because ideally you can kill them with the Spellweaver. Just the Magnet and Spellweaver, and that's it. Oh, and the reason we went to Olympus is we're just going to turn around instead of doing what the story wants us to do. And there's more ice cream. There's a whole bunch of more ice cream. So we're going to get all this stuff. And now we're just going to kind of do what the story wants us to do for a bit. The main reason we're doing any story stuff here whatsoever is because all these Magnets and Thunders we have that have been great and loyal to us for so long, we're about to get rid of them. So, but we do want them for 10 rounds here. Called that because there are 10 rounds of enemies that we have to beat up. And we want the Magnet Thunders to help us deal with that. So we're going to take care of that before actually making our ice cream and changing the complexion of this speed run really significantly. So, bunch of magnets, bunch of thunders. I'm not using the Spellweaver finisher because any animation that continues on after the enemies are dead, you have to sit through it. So if I use a Spellweaver, the Spellweaver animation's like 10 seconds. So I'd be wasting a bunch of time watching Aqua spin around instead of being able to do anything. This wave's sketchy. Watch the mandrakes. Like, they're about to fire at you every time. It's consistent that you can get there before they do, but it scares me, like, every time I do this. One thing I should mention is you'll notice I have the starting Keyblade, and I've been getting new Keyblades throughout this whole run, and I haven't equipped any of them. That's because with EXP0 equipped, the changing Keyblades just don't do anything. You do the same damage no matter what your Keyblade is with EXP0 equipped. So, we just don't change it. This wave, we used to just do Spellweaver, but again, you have to sit through that animation, and that's slow, so just smash out the magnets and hope they don't kill you for it. And that's really all there is to that. So, biggest and hardest menu in this game, I'm going to sell a bunch of commands that I no longer need. And then I'm going to buy a Cure, a Esnua, 3 Ignites, and a Barrier. I'm going to do that. We're going to tell Phil, see ya. Like, no reason for us to be here anymore. We'll take place in your stupid tournament finals later, bud. We go to Disney Town for our first time, and Huey, Dewey, and Louie over here are like, oh, you got ingredients. Here, we made some ice cream for you. Like, the ice cream involved Fabricadabras, and we love Fabricadabras. Because they're items that we put in our command deck. And first, let's talk about Barrier and Esnua gets Renewal Block. The magnets together get a Magnica, which we only want for once more ability. The Renewal Block in Magnica means we get second chance and once more, which means we get hit by any combo in the boss, we're not going to die, basically. We can survive at 1 health through any crap that they throw at us. So, this is Fruit Ball. It's 3 minutes of volleyball back and forth, basically. I'll use this time to explain what I was going to explain with the Fabras. So, we equipped 3 Fabricadabra slots in our command deck. And whenever you use a Fabricadabra, it fills up your gauge to get into a command style instantly. That's all Ice Cream do that, and each Ice Cream does it for a different command style. Fabricadabras do it for Spellweaver, which means instead of doing all the specific complex combos we've had to do to get into Spellweaver for bosses, we can just pop a Fabra and instantly get into Spellweaver, and that's it. And suddenly things got a lot easier, and for us, and we can get to the finisher a lot quicker. And it's going to completely change up how this run goes from now on, because we've basically set the objectives we've done to this point have set up what's essentially a boss rush. Like, we're going to go to Deep Space, kill a boss, go to Olympus, kill a couple bosses, go to Neverland, run in circle and kill a boss, and then go to the last world and kill a couple bosses. Like, the whole... After the 3 minutes of unskippable fruit ball nonsense, the whole run is very much this boss and this boss and this boss and this boss, go, 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 go. And since we can get the Spellweaver quickly, we have our ways we're going to deal with most of them. The other commands that you should know about is we've got 3 Ignites. We're going to use that a lot. Ignite is a basic damage over time ability. It's you use the ability, it hits something, it does a set amount of damage over time. They do not stack on top of each other. Only one Ignite actually has effect at a time. And essentially, Ignite's just a really, really good ability because it has that set amount over time thing. Which means that it does the same amount of damage on beginner as it does on critical. And since we're on the highest difficulty, and most of our sources of damage are nerfed in some way, having a source of damage that's the exact same as on a lower difficulty is like, hey, this is really, really good. So we will use that for some of our bosses. We also still have Poison from all the way back in Dwarf Woodlands, specifically for the boss immediately following this, because he's not damaged by Ignite. Poison's another just damage over time ability. Yeah, set amount of damage, all that fun stuff. And our next boss isn't affected by Ignite, which is typically a better damage over time. So that's our setup for all of that. We also got Renewal Block, which means if we block something, we recover HP based on the amount of damage we would have taken. So instead of taking damage, we can just heal by blocking damage, which is incredibly useful, especially since we live at 1 HP for most attacks now. So, really good. It means that our survivability has gone up a lot. So, Disney Town's done. We need to go back and complete our worlds. Back to Deep Space we go to the one part of the world we haven't seen yet. Yes, gravity is an illusion in this game, but we still have to play their gimmick zero gravity stuff in this room, where gravity is literally an illusion. It literally doesn't exist. But, yeah, some basic platforming, sliding dash save sometime there. Nothing too exciting. And now we're off to fight Space Whale. So, Mr. Space Whale over here, like I said, he's immune to Ignite, but he really doesn't like Poison. The Fabras get us into Spellweaver instantly, along with the Finisher instantly, and, yeah, we can just kind of start wailing on him. And you can see how much damage Spellweaver does now that we're in a higher battle level world. So, I'm trying to move away from Gantu so that he does the shooting thing again. He didn't. He just charged at me a couple times. I don't really know why. That's not how that's supposed to go, but it's fine. It's fine. Perfectly reasonable. Also, Stitch was kind of mean there, but yeah. Ideally, Stitch just shoots at him all day, every day. But still, 2 Spellweavers typically kill. Nothing too ridiculous. Deep Space is now done, and we need to go back and get to our tournament finals that we earned by killing a bunch of Unversed. That means that we get to fight Zack from Final Fantasy VII and Crisis Core. Hi Zack, how you doing? That game is on the PSP too. I'm assuming that's why he's here. Anyway, Ignite. that looks scary when he dives at you, but you can pretty consistently get into the Spellweaver, and it looks cool when you do it. So one more time, 2 Spellweavers equals death. And that's really all we have to say about him. I think he's the only Final Fantasy character we meet in this run. Like, I forget if he's the only one in the game or not. He probably is. I forget. Anyway, Hades. So we have to fight Hades and Ice Titan at the same time, who in the first Kingdom Hearts were both separate bosses. And this fight sucks. So we want Hades to go away from us at the start. He did not, meaning we have to deal with his bad RNG nonsense. And ideally, we're trying to get Spellweaver to hit both Hades and the Ice Titan at the same time, which we're doing an okay job of here. The ideal fight is you kill both of them in 2 Spellweavers. That's very, very difficult because Hades likes to run around and likes to not get hit by the Spellweaver in a lot of instances. And meanwhile, Ice Titan's trying to stomp around, and if you let Hades go and let him do too much, he can do an attack where he goes immune and shoots fire everywhere. And yeah, it's a painful fight, and it's a lot of RNG you have to deal with, and it's a run killer. That is definitely for sure. Like, it's really, really a pain in the butt. So, I'm gonna try and do some movement here where I sliding dash off the totem pole. It's fine. If you hit the totem pole, it acts like an enemy. It's cool, but you know what? It's fine. It's not that important. So, Neverland, the story in this world is literally we go around in circles. There's not even anything that happens. Aqua lands, she meets Peter Pan, and they're like, hey, we got this treasure map, let's go find a treasure, or whatever. And they literally go in a big old circle. And you end up in the exact room that you started in. The only thing that happens at all is Aqua gets an ability to do what she's doing off these pixie dust orbs, except on her own without the help of the pixie dust. Which, whatever, we don't use it in the speedruns unless we're doing all stories, so whatever. Don't really care. Some defying gravity nonsense here. Get a bunch of sliding dashes to go across the best we can. We can instantly get on that orb and that orb, which are both cool. And last menu of the game, Poison, we don't need you anymore. Get an Ignite and Sliding Dash, we need a Cure now, because these last few fights can get pretty sketchy. And the Sliding Dash doesn't really save much time at this point, so be safe, don't be sorry. And there's the double flight we get, and we just made one big circle back to the start. Yay! Okay, so Vanitas 2. So, again, Vanitas gets stronger every time we fight him, so Magnet's not going to work anymore. Spellweaver still works pretty well, though, but we need him to do a certain attack for us to do that and do it effectively. How his AI works is he's going to flinch whenever we hit him with any of these ignites. We need him to flinch 10 times. When he flinches 10 times, that's going to activate his AI to be like, oh, the player got me to a certain point. I'm going to do my super amazing, devastating dive attack. And we want him to do the super amazing mega dive attack. Because when he does this, as you can see, he can teleport out at random and be a real nuisance. Meaning our Spellweaver would miss most of its shots and do basically nothing. But when he does a super amazing awesome ground attack, well, Spellweaver just kinda does its thing. So that whole fight is Ignite, pray he doesn't teleport out, because he can and will. And that's kinda just what you gotta deal with. And it kind of is what it is. And so now we are coming on the hardest world in this entire speedrun. And really nervous about my mysterious tower here, guys. Like, this is a really hard world. There's so much going on, it's so complex. I'm going to need a serious moment here. Okay, cartwheel. Good, good. And left, cartwheel, 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 cartwheel. Good, we're done. That's not even the world. It's not even a thing. The actual hardest world in this run is Enchanted Dominion. But, yeah, they make you go there for some cutscene nonsense. And, you know, story, fun stuff. Last world of the game, Keyblade Graveyard. So, we're going to start this by doing a bunch of basic movement. The start is just basic cartwheel stuff. The next room is actually really interesting, because it's a bunch of tornadoes that roam around, and if you get sucked into it, you have to fight these huge unversed, actually ginormous, like bigger than Aqua size unversed, that are a real pain in the butt. But if you go near the tornado will chase after you, and if you go near another one, the tornado that was chasing after you will stop and have the new one start. Meaning that you can just kinda blitz by all of them because none of them get enough start going in order to actually catch you. Meanwhile, if only one of them pursued you at a time, you'd be kinda screwed. So, that's some nice, interesting movement there. In the original release of this remake, in the Japanese version, the tornadoes were like super ultra fast and you couldn't dodge them at all, and it made the Japanese version kind of suck, but that's been patched, so we're good. Say hi to Brig! He's clearly not Zigbar, not at all. And we're not going to kill him with Spellweaver, because we met our good friend Peter Pan back in Neverland, and he gave us a D-Link, which is going to have a finisher called Sword Bill. Basically, when you block attacks in the air, anything that hits back at Brig here is going to fill up our gauge a lot faster than anything else we can do. That's going to get us Sword Bill relatively quickly. Then we're going to wait for him to get back in the middle, do his Roundhouse Omega awesome super attack, and he's dead. Yeah, Sword Bill is basically over 100 really small finishers that do not a lot of damage. But since every single small finisher is being boosted by EXP 0 to the battle level of the last world, every single small finisher that shouldn't be hitting him for much is hitting him like a truck. Now for Final Vanitas. This fight's scary. We're going to start by getting into Spellweaver and get Mickey to protect us and hit him a little bit. That diving attack that Vanitas 2 did, based on hit value, this fight's still based on hit value. At certain hit values, he will dive, and that's the best chance for us to Spellweaver. He just iframes for half my Spellweaver, I don't know why. Basically, pretty much any attack he does is going to put you at 1 HP, and you have to be prepared. But essentially there is a hit value that forces him to dive at certain points, but the hit value is really hard to keep track of because Mickey's doing hits and you're doing hits, and the amount of hits I did means that he goes in the middle first instead of second, which I'd rather him do, and there's a lot of crap going on of how much I can hit him, how much I can get away with. Typically 3 Spellweavers killed, but he iframes through it, meaning that he's still alive. Meaning that I'm kind of going into desperation mode here, and praying that enough will hit to kill him, and time is when it fades to white. And that's Aqua on the hardest difficulty. That's it. We get to see the in-game time, which is kind of close, which is kind of cool. And yeah, it's like that final fight, there's a lot of crap going on, and it's very hard to explain everything. Basically, you want him to dive, and you want to be ready to Spellweaver when he does, and you want to use Renewal Block to heal yourself whenever you can. But yeah, it's a very fun run. It's very fast. You have that one break a little bit in with Fruit Ball, and otherwise it's a non-stop entertaining thrill ride. Really cool category, really interesting run. And it's changed a decent amount in the last couple years with the PS4 port and with figuring out, you know, just optimizing. The basic strats have stayed the same for a long time, but the optimizations have changed a lot over the years. Just a lot of small things being added on. over time to get it down to where it is today. And that's cool. Thank you, whoever is watching, for whatever reason you're watching it. And I appreciate your time, and I hope that you have a good day. Goodbye.